I believe imeanza kurecord. So yeah, so after that, after backend development with PHP, this is where we shall interact with the server, save something to a database, retrieve something from a database, and like make a website now become more functional. JavaScript makes a website to become lively. PHP will make a website become more functional, like what happens after this event. And also a few things here. So PHP is one of the languages, though there are many languages that can be used to do the same, like process your form inputs or process data and it gives you some value. Then we have front-end frameworks. So after we have covered from this point, from the start here to this point, you shall be able to develop your site on your own, a complete site and a working site that is good looking, responsive, has a backend, has functionality, people can sign up. Uh, you could be able to list like blogs on that site without the need of relying on anything. This is just basic web development. Then when we reach at this particular point here, front-end frameworks, React, Angular, and Vue. So there, there are many front-end frameworks. Front-end frameworks, okay, let me just roll back a bit. So we have a front end and we have a back end. We talked the back end as PHP will handle back end, and a front end shall be handled by a framework. Like you shall, with the time you choose the right stack you like using, like the right framework you like to use, building these front ends here. Then after looking at a few of the tools or frameworks or languages that we shall use in the front end, we shall learn more about databases. At, at this particular point, we shall also learn about databases a bit, then we shall expound here more about databases. Like databases are the just storage containers for data from the site. When a user signs up, that's where the data goes into a database. When a user logs in, data is retrieved from a database, then given to the user ile data tu yenye anataka, exactly the data that they want. Then we have web application security. This is a feature most of you or all of you always come across. For example, visiting a site with HTTPS, not HTTP, is a security feature. So those are the things that we shall look there. Then we have like a few things to do with data validation. When a user is signing up, we shall always validate the data and make sure that ile phone number ameweka huko, it's in the right format and it's the phone number that we want, not somebody sending in a script that will come later to delete our database or manipulate something. Then we have our web APIs and the services. Web APIs and services are like advanced things in web development, but good to know about, and they're used always. For example, this application we are using here, this data is being fed from an API endpoint. To talk more about an API is like an application. It's like an extension of your backend, from PHP here. Let's say you have your front end using React, for example, this one, and your backend in PHP. So an API will make these two things to come together. A good example or a usage with an API is when you go to a site, there are these payment gateways you meet in different sites. For example, PayPal is so common. So if you are in a site and they ask you to pay, you are going to pay using PayPal. So for that site to accept your payments, they have used an API from PayPal. It's like a service from PayPal, a connection to PayPal. So an API gives you or provides a layer to help different websites communicate, different web servers communicate. That's the work of an API. With the time, you shall learn how the API works. Right. Yeah. So in connecting the two sides of the river, the two banks, you use a bridge. So that's the work of an API. Connecting one service or connecting one website to another website. Finally, we shall look at into performance optimization and web accessibility. I can say this performance tutaisoma tu kutoka hapa juu as we go on, but maybe we shall do some recap and add on more things here. So for example, performance, let me talk of most this one of the most used apps or websites. For example, Twitter or Facebook. Ukifikanga Twitter, it just loads like poor. The same with Facebook or LinkedIn. Like that's now performance, how your website works or how your application works. So yes, anybody with a question till this point or anything to add on? If you have like something to say about the flow or you feel like hapa kuna kitu inafaa ikuje after the other, you could just say yes. Yeah. So when it comes to making a website that is good, somehow you need somebody akiclick in a button, for example. I'm trying to get an example that is easier to work around with. Let's say you, yeah, yes, yeah. So I have this here. Can you see this tab sub up on top here? I believe so, John. So to navigate through this or to make I move from this tab to this tab, this way I use JavaScript. JavaScript makes this easier. So with just HTML and CSS, you won't be able to get to this point, though there are many tricks you can do with HTML and CSS, but that's quite expensive. So the easier method is to use something like JavaScript. So JavaScript is built to make your website some things to interact or make it like, yeah, as I said, live. If you do something, you click on a button, it does something. For example, if I click on this, it like pops up this chat and I can continue to click some buttons. Now this JavaScript working behind the scenes. Going back, this is just JavaScript. So it makes things work. So JavaScript is making your website to become live and making it have more interactivity. I click here, it opens that. I do that, it changes it toggles the mode. So that's the work of JavaScript. So JavaScript is just to make your website lively. HTML is to give you like tags to use in writing the term topics, web development. Then we have CSS to do your styling, how it looks. Yeah, just the looks. That's the work of CSS. So yeah, anybody with any question? Oh, before I go to anybody, John, are we together with JavaScript? Okay, you will learn more about it actually and understand the full thing why JavaScript is for making things go that way. Anybody with a question, an add-on? Yeah. So I believe since I haven't had any question from you guys, another question. So I believe we shall start. And today's target was to go through this course outline and do our setup, like set up our environment where we are going to code on and also do our first application, our first website, I call it. Then, yeah. So I will add more information to this, and like add, yeah, more information to this so that you could be able to follow through on your own time. But for now, uh, I don't have notes to give out, so there won't be any notes in this class. We are going to be practical in most cases, so that we just do practical things, not like notes are for schools, and this might not be one. So yeah, so we are going to use a lightweight development toolkit, and most of us have one of the things that we're going to use. That's a web browser. We are going to use Chrome. Hapa ndo tutaona the output of what we are going to build. And the next tool we are going to use is called Sublime Text. Sublime Text is a text editor. It's not an IDE. I even forgotten. So yeah, so a text editor is just like providing a more colorful way of writing your text. For example, you could use something like a Word to write your code, but no, that's bad. So you need something meant for coding. So Sublime Text is meant for coding, and we shall use, yeah, Sublime Text and Chrome. So let's do, talking of text editors, we have also something called IDEs. IDEs are independent development environments. So for an example of an IDE for those who have a background in coding is PyCharm. So let me show you. PyCharm is another tool you could use in coding, but this one is like, it's independent. It has everything in it that needs to make you run your code. So unlike text editors. So another tool, yes, yeah, that's good. Thank you, Robin. Hiyo singeikumbuka. Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Robin. So yeah, PyCharm is an IDE, integrated development environment. It's like a complete set of tools to help you code something. So for example, PyCharm is good with Python. If you know Python, Python is another programming language. So yeah, so with Python, you could use PyCharm, and it will just like help you run your code within PyCharm and everything. So that so for example, with PyCharm, you run your code in PyCharm and it displays the output. But with Sublime Text, you need something else to display your output. That is Chrome. That will now Chrome will be used to display your output. Another IDE slash text editor is VS Code. So VS Code, people call it an IDE, others call it a text editor, because VS Code has the ability for you to install more extensions, like more packages to help it make it more lively. So you could install a Python extension to make it execute Python code. You could install some HTML extension to make it execute like HTML, like side to side where you are coding. So VS Code is the most common tool used by most developers because of its lightweightness and its ability to have more, its marketplace of extensions. It has a lot of extensions. For those, I believe kila mtu amesikia about ChatGPT and some other AI tools. You could just install them direct to VS Code and run your code. They help you write your code and all that stuff. And I didn't choose VS Code for this program because VS Code has that ability for you to do a lot with its extensions. For us to learn more and understand the basics of web development, I decided to go with something that, like, it only gives us coloring and arranging of code. Otherwise, it has nothing like text completion. Yeah, it's just purely blank. It's lightweight and easy to use. Yeah, but later on, as we go on to this chapter, like as we reach this chapter here, front-end development frameworks. So hapa tunaweza ingia ndani ya VS Code. We shall start using something. Yeah, VS Code will help us here a lot because now we need that text compilation. We have already learned about development, so hapa tutakuwa na shida, but if you start using an IDE like VS Code at this stage, high chances kwenda huku mbele, yeah, you'll be developing but you will miss a lot. Yeah, I think that's all from the IDEs and text editors. So I believe kila mtu ako na mashini yake karibu, ama they are using their laptops or their PCs, so that we start by installing our editor. So kindly move to sublimetext.com. Yes. Yeah. Anaconda, as Robin has said it, it's like a marketplace of all those IDs and text editors. The good thing with it is it provides you that environment in that if you want to quickly switch from this IDE to another IDE or from this text editor to another, you have that seamless switching of IDEs. So yeah, I believe, let me send that link. So kindly let's navigate to that link and download Sublime Text. So for my case, since I'm using Linux, I shall install for Linux. If you are on Windows, you can click okay. It will show you like download for or install for Windows, because hii ni kama it reads my OS na inaniambia what to download, so it has pre-selected for me. Kindly move to that direction, download it, and run the installer if you are on Windows. But if you are on Linux, I believe you know how the installation goes. You could follow through. So if you are in this page, you click on download, then click on download for Windows. So you could just download it for Windows, then install like any other application. Yeah, the website will pre-select for you your OS and pre-select the right installer for your OS. Mwenye amekwama, kila mtu ameanza kudownload. You could raise your hand if you have started downloading or you are downloading it. Good. Nice Jeremy, nice John. Frank, I have, yeah, Felix is downloading it. Gad, are you able to download it? Or you already have it? If you have it, still it's good. Yes. Hiyo autofill yenye iko nayo ni so minimal. Utumie kitu kama VS Code ama PyCharm yenye na kuallow kuinstall ChatGPT na Copilot, unapata complete code. But yeah, later on tutatumia hizo tools muone vile zina work out. Yeah. John yako imekubali kuinstall? Oh, yeah, okay. The good thing with Sublime Text, it's lightweightness, like ni hata kuinstall yenyewe ni rahisi, just download and install. Kitu kama VS Code, download VS Code mbaya, paicha mdownload, ngoje masaa kadhaa. Yeah, VS Code is I think kitu 20 MB, so makes it good for coding. Kuna zile legacy coding editors, Notepad++, I never used that one too. Ile ilikuanga hatari, but hiyo ni ingine yenye inapiga nduru ukicode. So let's have like 5 to 10 minutes to do the installation. Yes. Huh? Uh, CSS. Okay. Oh, sawa. C++, C sharp and C zinakwanga zini tatu ya. So C++, it's good for developing. Hiyo na ndio inatumikanga kudevelop games. C++, most in gaming, yeah, iko huko. And in developing these complex applications. For example, unaweza pata hata system ya Google, one of it is running C++ mahali. And Java. Yeah, so oh yeah, every language like now. Okay, hizo languages zingine okay, C++ has like a steeper learning curve. Hiyo lazima ukae like you have to take your time there. Si kitu rahisi, si kitu direct. Reason being like unlike other languages, you have like to do a lot of things your own. One of those things is memory management, how you allocate your memory, how you allocate whatever memory you are given. So that makes it hard because sometimes unaweza acha something running called a thread iende consume memory yako yote kabisa. So somehow that makes it si kitu direct. And another thing I can say is that you could learn C++, but currently somehow kutumika yake imeanza kureduce because most companies are moving from some things like C++ and Java to some languages which are better like Rust. Rust helps a lot in development because you catch all errors while in development. Ni ngumu sana uship something with errors to production. Talking of development and production, development is when you are, for example, where una code umekaa, you are coding, testing out with your local machine. Production ni ile kitu yenye final end product yenye watu wanaona. For example, Facebook, we can say is on production. So C++, you can ship a lot of bugs to production, but something like Rust and TypeScript, TypeScript is a friend to JavaScript, like an advanced JavaScript. Ni ngumu, like it helps you a lot in development and also in production, utakuwa na shida mingi. So we have other languages like Java. Java is widely used in developing systems. For example, the most common system that we all know is a POS or a point on, is it point on sale? I believe so. Zile systems zinatumikanga kwa supermarket. Unafika huko ukilipa that you might find that system imedevelopiwa na Java. Yeah, Java is also used in application development, and it's good in that because it was meant for that. So hizi applications unaona kwa simu, they might have been developed with Java, but currently JavaScript is doing all the work, and Flutter for application development. So unapata kama umeiva JavaScript, you decide okay, I'll just choose a framework ile yenye tulisema we shall learn in topic 5 and develop application yangu hapo, na kila mtu ataipata. iOS users will get the same application, Android users will get the same application, and you could even export the same application to a desktop, for example Linux OS or Windows OS and other systems. Yeah, sijui mahali mmefika na installation. Nani imekataa kuinstall 3.0 ina download? Aha. Nani amedownload atuambie size, but sidhani kaa ni kubwa vile. Okay, while it's downloading on your side and while it's installing, web yako imekuwa successful. Good. Na wengine Gad, Frank, we have Isaac. Oh, good. Sawa, while tunangoja ya John, let's like do something, some recaps. As I said, we go through some websites tuone nini na happening huko. Okay. Okay, so I'll just like to take this moment again, since we are doing web development, we look at some of existing websites now from the developer perspective, not from the user perspective. So I'll just start from common facebook.com. So while we are going through this, just keep in mind we are going to learn more about some designs, common designs that are available in web development. You might ask why we have gone to common designs, but I'm just helping you go through kwanza tuelewe nini na happening hapa, mbona hiki chiko hapa. So yeah, starting with the Facebook, they have their design. Ya kwanza hapa juu kuna hii navigation yao. Then they have this like sidebar here. Alafu they have another sidebar here to the right, and finally they have the middle part hii huku katikati. So this is Facebook design. So they have like ukiangalia hapa we call them sections. Kuna hiyo section ya hapo juu across, the sidebar, then the middle part, then the right part here at the end. So that's a common design. With their use case, it suits their design. So let me go like show the small screen of the same website. So with some width of your screen, ukiangalia imepoteza the left sidebar. It only has the middle part and the right sidebar. If you go down, it only remains with the middle part. Yeah, iko na shida kidogo, it's trying to adjust itself. Yeah. So you get this middle part peke yake when you are totally on small screen, ama this whatever you see in your applications. That's Facebook application. Unaona hapa wamesema stop. It's because wanaona Sasa nyinyi mkikuja hapa, are you learning about our website? Yes, we are. Yeah, so each website has the responsiveness that they want for them to run their business. Next, I'd like to go to LinkedIn. So LinkedIn has the similar design. Let me drop this pen. Yeah, LinkedIn has a similar design to Facebook. As you can see, there is this top part, left, middle, and the right. This seems good in social applications. Let's check what Twitter has. Yeah, Twitter has the similar thing. Kuna hii sidebar, the left one, the middle part, and the right sidebar. So you can conclude and say that most social media applications, at least they have three parts flowing down in their websites. So even TikTok, I believe that's the case. So yes, somebody with something to say. Right, let's go to YouTube. So if we look at YouTube itself, uh, oh, let me go back. So YouTube, this is the landing page of YouTube. So it has the top part here, the navigation hapa juu, then pia iko na this left sidebar that flows down here, then pia iko na the other last part, hii part ya main content. Sasa this is what we see here. So at least pia iko na some sidebar, then some content, only that at this page haina the last part. So but if we go to a single video, you realize that these things rearrange again. Yeah, so hizi vitu zangu za kuchora hapa sasa kudelete ni shida. I can't delete one on one, hata they will just disappear on their own. Oh, I can do this by the way. Yeah, so you realize where at this particular page, YouTube, it may change, like it has its sidebar to the right and the video content to the left. So it only has two sections flowing down and the navigation bar on top. So you have to choose a design that fits what you want to build. So let's look at other websites and see what they have or how their content is arranged. So I'll just close down this. Uh, I'll go to an e-commerce store like Jumia. So we have looked at social media websites, how they look like. Now let's look at how the e-commerce sites look like. Yeah. So we are at Jumia. So if you look at Jumia, it has a lot of moving parts because it has like to show you a lot of things at once. So let me just highlight the sections that we have here. So we can see the first section, it's a small section up on top. It's like a flash, it's like flashing through hapo juu tu. That's the first section of this website. The next section unawezaona is this section of the navigation bar. It's a small header all that flows from left to right hapa. That's the next section. It has a search, the logo. Hizo zote tutaangalia later on, but let's just look at the sections. The next section that we have here, kuna haka ka section kadogo hapa kako tu na product categories. Then we have another section here hapa katikati. It's like the hero components. They are called hero components. Like section 2 iko na some featured information iko hapo on top. Then we have another section right at the end here. This is for just their navigation, not the navigation, but just what you see on the first sight when you land on their page. Several sections, several moving components. It's because it's an e-commerce, so you have to show a lot of information, at least to get the user buy more or change their mind to buy something else. That is, of course, more expensive. So that's the target of e-commerce. Then if you scroll down, you will notice like now they have different sections for different categories for their site. That's for e-commerce. Let's check another e-commerce site. Who can suggest one? Good. So we have gg.co.ke. Yeah. So if we come to Gigi also, right, we can see a few things here. The first thing is of course the navigation bar. The next part is this hero component here that according to their hero component here, they just ask you to like do a search of the something in their site, but immediately down you can be able to see the right section, the left section that has some sort of ads, some sort of categories. Then thereafter you can be able to see another section here that kind of asks you to check this out. And then we have another very critical section in their site, this site here. So this is a critical section because they are asking you to post something, post for free, sell something. So such a things like you put something, it's like an action, a call to action to ask people to do something. Then thereafter you can be able to see the listing of products down, 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 down. Let me jump to another kind of websites. For example, that is not an e-commerce or just an informational website. I don't know. Trying to figure out which one. I'll just go with mine. So if you look at this site, also it has a few sections. Just the navigation bar. Then after the navigation bar, just some hero component, some hero view, just symbol. Then if you go down, then you will find some titles listing a few things here and there. Down, down, then you can find their services. So these are informational websites, just information to display different, just information. So informational websites might not be having a lot of moving parts because yeah, they are just there to display information. But there are more. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Then we have this. So this is just information. This is just an information website. It has a few things. Oh, by the way, I've not been talking about one common section in most websites. Here it will appear. Yeah, the footer, or what happens at the end of the page is called a footer. So footer holds more information. For example, for my site here, it has just links to some quick links to other pages. So if you have missed something on the navigation bar, be sure that you will be able to find it on the footer. That's what happens with the informational websites. See kama social media, like they have a lot of moving parts somewhere, and their links are either in some icon or somewhere. Let's check another informational website. For example, this one is tundatam.co.ke. Yeah, this is what Robin has been building like in the past 2 months, 2 or 1, yeah. So it also has a navigation bar. Then this some sliding information here in the landing page on the first section. Then down, just information. It also has some e-commerce in it, but this was not meant to be a pure e-commerce site. So that's where I would always so section is categories nini. But and if you go down, you will get a footer. So these are some of the common design patterns of different websites zenye zinatumika sana. So you have to choose your website kind, find its common design. You might decide to change that common design to something else. Si lazima ukijenga social media application ifanane Facebook ama LinkedIn ama Twitter. It can be something else with a new design here. You feel I'll be able to conquer this industry with this kind of design. So yeah, that's to talk about website designs. I believe there are many other designs I can't really be able to pull here, or other different kinds of sites. Let me add one more to the list. That, for example, let's take one at Coursera. Coursera is an LMS. It might be having a. Do I really have to log in? No. So Coursera is another website. It's a learning management system. So it looks like an informational website from the top, how it looks like. But if you go down and maybe click on a single course, you realize that things start changing how they appear. Like the information here is purely based on learning, on education. So you have to make things easier for learners, things easier for whoever is coming to visit your site and see its information. So depending on the website or the industry you are building for, you have to at least find industry guidelines on the pattern you are using to build your design. With build e-commerce site, then you make it have for example a navigation bar hapa juu kubwa, because literally e-commerce site navigation bar ni ya nini? Instead of all these words, you only need a search bar here. Yeah, for Jumia they only did a search bar, that's all. So you have to take industry guidelines into consideration. uh, yeah, at least to make sure that, because people are used to that kind of design for that particular industry. Otherwise ukiweka hivyo juu then hapa hivi sijui umekuja ukalist your categories at this particular point, who will be able to know they are here and they are used to having categories right on top or somewhere just hapa juu mahali zinaonekana ziko listed. So you have to take care of that while you are designing your website. I believe if I have tried to cover something to do with the different design systems, different yeah, website design system with different industries. Yeah. So I don't know, Rovin or Cosmas or anybody who has been in this development portion part, kama uko na kitu ya kuongezea, kindly you can unmute and give us something more before we test out our first application, so that we can call it a day. Tomorrow we prepare now to learn HTML fully. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, yes. Oh, that's good. That's a good concern. So for that, for the last thing that Robin has raised, yeah, we are not going to concentrate on a lot of languages, to be fair, since there are very, very many. So we are going to only concentrate in four, four languages. So that's HTML, CSS, no, five languages. HTML, CSS, we have something called JavaScript. So those are for web development, like pure on the front end. Then we shall do a bit of PHP just to get you started on doing backend development. Then we shall do Python for backend development too. So in Python, we might not go deep that much, but at least it will just a bit of it. And it, okay, we might dwell there for the advanced level of this course to make sure that you have a good understanding of Python and also developing uh, a website on Python using its framework called Django to be specific. So I think, yeah, those five languages is where we are going to concentrate. So we are not going to deviate from that. Otherwise, everything that we are going to learn, be it a lot, be it less, is just based on those. Yeah. Cosmos, if you have something to say on web design, okay, on web design patterns or Cosmas, sikupati on my side personally. Sijui kama mwingine anakupata. Hebu ongea na hiyo venye umeongea hivyo. Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It will be good if we go with one. So we'll just go with React and the next. That's when tukifika hapo. So tuache kusema React next. I know there's somebody asking himself, hii ni nini tena? So yeah, we shall just concentrate on React because the frameworks somehow look the same, like the coding patterns are the same. But at least with that advanced level of coding and your web development, you could just ask if you want to actually, at least we might develop a website on each of the frameworks, not to that deep, but to help you learn about the other existing frameworks. And about PHP, the reason as to why I choose PHP first before Django, Django somehow abstracts a lot of things when writing a backend. PHP is just to help. as understand. Otherwise, we would have chose something like Java for us to write our backend, but that's more complex. No, just understanding about writing pure, just single or simple SQL queries. So PHP for my tech, I chose that one. It will help us learn about SQL and the usage of SQL. Yes. Good. PHP, you might ask, is it the starting or the end point? It depends. You can develop everything you want on PHP, like the website, like for example, Facebook. Facebook before 2012 was purely running on PHP, kila kitu. So si kama sahii wameadvance wameleta in other languages I can say, but it was built on PHP. And the PHP, yeah, one might ask, is it going down as Cosmos has made it? The reason as to why PHP might not be used right now is because JavaScript is overtaking everywhere. JavaScript is good in backend development. Yeah, that one we will learn some backend development using JavaScript, but PHP still owns the web, because if you look at a lot of websites, maybe they may not be updated going forward using PHP, but they are running a framework of PHP called either WordPress or Laravel. And there are some other more frameworks like Drupal on PHP. But yeah, as Cosmos has said it, PHP CV haitumiki sana of late kuanzia sai kwenda mbele. It's because there are better things people are doing like Rust. Rust is doing far better. Now PHP has like more loopholes. Ukidevelop kitu na PHP, be sure to do a lot of work in order to make your site secure. But if you do something in JavaScript, no, TypeScript, or Rust, yeah, you are sure at least a lot of things have been uplifted from you, like security issues. So yeah, PHP still runs most of the servers. It runs the servers. Sidani, okay, most servers run using PHP. Ni vile sasa hapa nje development, PHP itumiki like openly. I don't know somebody's views from somewhere. Anybody with a view on PHP? Okay, I believe that's all. So, John, had you installed your Sublime Text? Okay, okay. To be fair to you, because wewe ndio hauna background ya dev, I'll just allow you maybe do the installation through today. I'll just do a simple illustration of building a website from my side. Now, after you have installed your site, tomorrow we shall start doing the development. I believe that's good to you, so that you download leo, have it installed. Chenye najua ni mahali uko network si mzuri, that one yeah, your network is kind of low. So right, so what I'll do to start your application, it's good that you uh, yeah, let me talk about this. When we are going to start our development program, kindly make sure you have like a folder for that. Usirushe vitu ndani ya document, usirushe vitu ndani ya ama juu ya desktop. Kama ni juu ya desktop, just have a folder. You could call your folder anything you want, but for my case now, I'm going to call my folder LSD M. That's my folder I'll be using all through. If I want to create a new project, I right click and write my first, for example, this will be the first project. You need to have that folder. Like just arrange your things in a single file, for your projects. It will be easier for you even to track which project you are working on and like doing things on the desktop. Yep. You have a folder here for don't know what. No, that will be very difficult to maintain. Just have it somewhere, even if it's on a desktop, just a single folder for all your projects. In that folder, you create a new subfolder for that specific project. So we are going to write our first HTML file or our first website, the hello world of HTML. So to do that, I'm on Linux, so I won't be able to do much of the stuff from here at right clicking. But if you are on Windows, you could have right click and create a new file. But the best way, just open your Sublime Text. And in Sublime Text, if you have a new, like an open project, just click open folder and let's find the folder that we want to use. So for my case, I'm going to use the first project folder. Select that. Uh, I don't want this initial window. So yeah, this is my first project folder and it's open now in in Sublime Text. To create your first file, usually it's called an index file. So call it index.html and save it within the folder like that. Yeah. So the hello world of HTML or a website is I could just do. Uh, Let me write a text here. This is my first website. Uh, it looks like my new hello world. Yeah, that's all you have to write to do your HTML. For now, that's for the beginning. Then to run your file, uh, you could right click here in this file that you have selected on top here, just in Sublime Text and open in browser. That's one option. Now it will open like this. This how your HTML will look like. At the end, you will transform this to something like this, or to something far better, even like this one. Now you add more things and more things. So since John is not ready to get started, oh, there was another option to open your file. You could right click and open in the browser, but let's say you don't know what happened. Just go to your file where it is. You can right click and open with Chrome. If you open it with Chrome, it will open the same way and it will be looking like this. This is my first website. Then starting tomorrow, be prepared. We are going to run something. Okay, I'm talking about HTML, and John, I'm sure, is not aware of HTML. What's HTML? HTML is a hypertext markup language in full, and the CSS is cascading style sheets. So hypertext markup language is just like writing a markup of what you want. Then CSS is transforming that markup to look good. That's all I have to say, and I think everybody was able to do this for those who were doing it. For the new guys who have not been coding, yeah, anybody with a question or something to add on? CSS in full means cascading style sheets. So let me just do another line here and say HTML is a hypertext markup language.